Welcome to 12 Wellness is your guiding star to healing, where we talk all things about gut health and nervous system health. And why those two? Well, because more times than not, every disease begins in either the gut or the nervous system. But more passionate than the gut health and nervous system health is we are very passionate about educating, inspiring, and empowering you to take control of your health. As we like to say, you can't count on the guy in the white coat. You have to know what works for you. So there is a lot of information out there. It can get quite confusing. We are here to bring the facts to you so that you can be your best own health advocate. So one great way to start your journey to healing is doing a gentle detox. We are surrounded by toxins every day, all day. We can't hide from them, but we can help our bodies detox. So just below this video, click the link and you can get our free book, 10 Ways to Detox Your Body, with step-by-step instructions on how to do so. But today we are here to talk about the 3 most common myths we see when it comes to health and wellness. We hear these almost pretty much every single day, and we're here to debunk them. So joining me today is Laura. Here she is. Hello, Laura. So good to see you.
Hi, Sandrina. So good to
Hi.
see you.
Yes. So the 3 myths that we're going to talk about today. Myth number 1, and I would probably say that this is the one that I hear the most, is that our genes determine our health destiny. So what does this mean? I hear quite a bit, diabetes runs in my family. That's why I have it. Or high blood pressure runs in my family. So no wonder I have it. Is that true?
The short answer is no, it is not true. And I say short answer because there are many, many factors that go into why somebody might have this dynamic occurring within their system, right? We are certainly born with a genetic profile, right, that we have from our mother and our father. And this genetic profile is actually a very small part of why we might develop diseases earlier in life or later on in life. It's more often than not our lifestyle or our choices or the behaviors we've learned from our parents that are influencing our genes. That's why we share these chronic illnesses and dynamics with them. It's not the genetics per se, but it's the behaviors that are flipping these genes on. And so it is erroneous to think that just because your parents had high blood pressure or had type 2 diabetes or were overweight or obese, that you will be as well. You need to take a really hard look at the behaviors and habits and lifestyles that you were raised in. That's going to serve you and help you really take charge and figure out how to avoid these dynamics much more so than just thinking you're predestined to have them because your parents had them. If you don't change your behavior and you don't change your lifestyle, you are going to have them. So it's time that we start shedding some light on the real reasons behind these dynamics and how you can help heal them and prevent them in the first place.
Yes, absolutely agree. And I actually had one client where, she had diabetes and her mother had diabetes. So, and she said, that's why I have it. And I said, well, did you ever think that maybe it's not because you have the gene per se so much, but maybe that you're living the same lifestyle that your mother lived. And maybe that's why you could possibly have it. So we do have that genetic predisposition, right? The gene could be there, but it's what we do day in and day out that determines if that gene gets turned on and therefore we have diabetes, or it stays off and therefore we don't, right? So for example, my father is diabetic and I'm very aware of that. And so I make sure that the lifestyle choices I make will hopefully keep that gene off, right? So that's what I have in my mind when I decide which food to eat or whether or not to move my body that day and whatnot. Just because you have the gene or just because your parents have the gene and possibly you do, right? It does not mean that you will automatically develop the disease. It is what you do day in and day out, your lifestyle, your nutrition, that will determine if that gene gets turned on or stays off. So very, very important. And I think it's very powerful. right?
It
Extremely
is.
powerful.
It's about informing. It's about how we choose to inform those genes and inform our bodies. Just another quick example, I had a client as well who had a history of diverticulosis and diverticulitis. It's sort of at the end of your bowel where you can get some inflammation. And so, going to the bathroom can be difficult. You can have some pain, you can have some flares. And this person flat out said to me, when we were talking about lifestyle and I was talking about some choices that could improve some of these flares and maybe even get rid of this altogether. And this person said to me, "Oh, no, I don't think you understand. My mother had this. And so, the gastroenterologist told me that it was genetic." And I had to really spend a good amount of time educating this person that that's just not the case.
Mhm.
And that, the lifestyle choices really mattered most. And yes, he was probably engaging in a lot of the same lifestyle choices and foods and eating that his mom did. So it makes sense that this would be the case. But to think that this is an actual a physiologically genetic issue is just not right. It's just not correct.
Correct, right. And it goes to show that you have more control and more power over your health than you probably imagine. Absolutely. So, myth number 2, taking a medication for, say, constipation, and now you don't have the constipation anymore because you're taking a medication for it, cured the constipation. True?
Yeah, no, that's a big false. Because it might be some symptomatic relief in the moment, but it is most certainly not addressing the root cause of the constipation to begin with. Look, there are certainly times where there's a one-off where you might be constipated, right? We're human. We don't live in a vacuum, right? We're dynamic beings and things happen. That's part of life. And our body is set up so that it wants to be in equilibrium. It wants to function optimally. So if, let's say, you ate something that mightn't have agreed with you or your system and you developed constipation for a day or so, and then you were able to correct course and right that constipation, that happens, right? And so, we can all understand and we can all appreciate that. It's when there is a chronic dynamic of constipation and you see your healthcare provider and they dole you out a medication and tell you, "Oh, this will cure your constipation," and you accept it and you take it and you start having bowel movements and you still aren't feeling great, but you're like, "Well, they told me this would help it, so now I'm just going to keep doing that." It's not addressing why you had the constipation in the first place.
Right.
So it's actually doing you a disservice because you think you're cured. And so you're never going to be able to go to that root problem and be able to ditch that medication that most certainly has other unintended consequences and side effects. And that's really what you want to do in order to be able to live a sustainably healthy life. Your body shouldn't require a medication to go to the bathroom.
Right. Agree. You cannot truly heal unless you stop suppressing the symptoms and look instead for the root cause. That's healing, right? Otherwise, it's
Absolutely.
like a band-aid, putting a band-aid on the
Totally.
problem. So awesome. And the third myth, it is very normal to develop chronic illnesses and be on multiple medications as we age. That's just the thing called life. That's just what happens. True?
No, absolutely not. We've been made to believe that it's true. I think society and our culture, it's almost a way of sort of getting off the hook, if you will. Look, it's a lot easier to believe certain stories that we're either told, fed, or that we tell ourselves in truth. It takes us out of the equation of making an improvement or having to do the work to change. I mean,
Mhm.
that's pretty convenient if you ask me.
Right.
So if you are subscribing to the idea that as you age, you will, uh, you know, without a doubt, develop certain issues due to age, then you really don't have to invest that much into your choices and your lifestyle. Now, yes, as you age, your needs change. That's part of being a dynamic bio individual person, right? So we're going to have very different needs at the age of 30 than, let's say, we may at 60. But at the same time, if we're able to sort of, you know, be aware of those changes and be aware of our system and how we are reacting and responding to our age, then we're able to change our lifestyle and change our course, right? And we can take into account all of the things that matter, right? So we do take into account, you know, genetics. We do take into account, you know, what has our life been like up until then? Do we experience a lot of stress? Are we experiencing a lot of stress right now? But we are most certainly not destined to develop these chronic issues. In truth, and I dare to say this, as we get older and as each of our stages begin to unfold and develop, it's a new opportunity to experience life in a beautiful, meaningful, joyful way. And so I really do think that this idea of just accepting that you're going to develop these chronic health issues is kind of sad in a way and kind of depressing and very, very limiting. And we are not in the business of limiting. We're in the business of expanding. And that's the point of all of this, is that you really do have so much more power and control over your health, even as you age.
Absolutely. Very powerful. Yes. And as we like to say, a lot of times it might be common to, you know, as you age, to have illnesses and be on medications, but it's not necessarily normal. So just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. So as you said, you definitely have more control over your health and your health destiny than you imagine. So good stuff. So
Very good
there you
stuff.
have it. 3 myths about health and wellness. Stay tuned. Don't forget to download the free ebook just below this video, 10 ways to detox your body. And stay tuned for a next video about the 3 most common truths that people totally forget about or never even thought about, don't talk about. It's not really spoken about when it comes to health and wellness. So 3 truths about health and wellness, next video. We'll see you there.